Alrighty, how's it going, guys? This is Colin with Worthy Brand Consulting, and just want to make a really quick video. Hopefully, it's super valuable for you. That is my plan. But I just want to talk about testing. Okay, I made a post recently about the idea of how, really, in business, when it comes to our offers or just the results from our marketing, the foundation of good results comes from testing, right? A lot of times we will start advertising campaigns and we'll have a really good idea of what offer is going to work. We have a really, we built a new landing page, right? The whole thing. We have an audience that we've curated. We've done all this different targeting parameters, only to realize it flops, it fails, right? And we're just like, I know I've 100% done that many times, and I've spoken to lots of folks, a significant portion of individuals that have done marketing for their businesses have had lots of failures with their marketing from a lack of testing, right? And it's just funny. I was reading the book Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins, which, if you've never read that book, this is like the cream of the crop when it comes to information in regard to advertising. But he talks about testing is really the foundation to good advertising, right? And I just finished making a training for my wife's clients. My wife does photography. She works with business owners, and she does like branding sessions. So she gets some new updated photos they can use, on their website, social media, etc. And I made a little training for them just to show them how to start running Facebook ads at just $10 a day, right? So for a lot of you listening to this, like that's $10 a day. That's what you spend per hour probably, or per minute, for your advertising. But for some of you, maybe you're new to advertising as well. But the main thing I was showing them was actually you can be successful with a budget that low. The trick, the whole purpose of what you need to do, though, is test, right? And actually, I explained to them from Frank Kern, if you know who Frank Kern is. He's kind of like an OG internet marketing guy who's helped lots and lots of people. I've learned a lot from Frank Kern, but he has this method he calls the miser method. And I don't really know why he calls it the miser method. I think it's because the word miser sort of means someone who's frugal with money, right? And essentially the idea of the miser method is you're spending a very small amount of money. So in the case of my explanation and even Frank's examples, $1 per day per audience. And inside of this campaign, you're going to have 10 different audiences for the sole reason of testing to see which audience responds best, right? And it's amazing because Frank is great. Guy's awesome. He spends quite a bit of money on advertising, but when he's launching and testing new offers, he'll still use the miser method at $1 per day or a couple bucks per day per audience, right? So it's interesting, really, no matter what level you're at in regard to business or marketing, spending 200 grand a month or 200 grand a day, testing is still your foundation. Okay, you may just be testing with bigger budgets, but that's always the trick, right? With direct response marketing, your offer, the formula really very much is have entrepreneur gets an idea, right? So you're the entrepreneur, you have an idea of what offer could work. You think it's great. It probably is great. And you introduce it to the marketplace, and there's only really two options that happen. The marketplace gives you the thumbs up and they're like, great offer, or the thumbs down and they don't buy. And so for a lot of you that have been in business for a while, you already get that, right? You're in the game of creating offers and tweaking your copy and creating new ads and creating new audiences, right? But for some of us out there, this is sort of a new concept. So hopefully this video will shed some light into practically how can you start testing with $10 a day. And I'm just going to go actually show you a couple slides from the training I built again for my wife's clients on how to do that, and specifically for Facebook advertising. So let me pull this up real quick. I'm just going to show you a couple slides of what it looks like to do the miser method, right? And again, this is complete shout out to Frank Kern. I did not make any of this up. I have 100% implemented it, though, I should say that. And I've gotten really great results, both for my wife's photography business, and I help her run that, and for this consulting business that I'm also running, Worthy Brand Consulting. It's worked extremely well. But again, just wanted to give credit where credit's due. So the first piece of the miser method, of course, is your campaign. So again, let's say you are running a business and you're wanting to launch Facebook ads, and you're like, hey, I've run Facebook ads in the past. Maybe they kind of worked. They were all right. I'm not really sure if they worked that well, or maybe they failed, they flopped, you didn't make any money. And you're like, advertising is a waste of time, or maybe you get most of your traction from organic leads. Whatever the case is, just want to show you like maybe a second go around using this framework. I think really could help you big time. And again, even if you've been running ads for a while, and even if you're running them not just on Facebook, apply this method to any other platform available, really, offline, direct mail, whatever it is, online advertising. This method I think is fantastic, and it just goes back to the fundamental principles of test, 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 and test some more. Like what Claude Hopkins mentioned. So the first piece of the Miser method really is just set up your campaign, right? So in the case of online ads, most of these platforms allow you to choose your objective, like, generating leads, generating purchases. So in the case of, for a lot of you, if you're not running an e-com business, you're running a coaching business, service-based business, it'll be selecting leads as your objective, right? And then from there, here's the trick. Instead of spending $10 on one audience, right? We're gonna break out our money over 10 audiences, right? That's what Frank recommends to start with. Start with like 10 audiences. And hey, if you got a budget, you want to go crazy and spend $20 a day, start with 20 audiences, right? And like I mentioned, each audience, you're going to spend $1 per day. And I'll break it down for you even further. I'll show you in one of my ad accounts what this looks like. So you notice on the screen, that's exactly how it breaks down into, right? Okay, so once you've set up your campaign, you're like, hey, I want to generate leads. I want for my coaching business, whatever it is, okay? Take that little $10 a day budget you're deciding on using to test, whether it's an offer or whatever the case is, and spread it across 10 different audiences, okay? Now, within those audiences, you don't want to just test one ad, because a lot of times that's the problem too, right? Folks will create a campaign, they'll use one ad and the campaign fails, and they're like, well, did I have a bad ad? Was it the whole campaign bad? Was my audience bad? You don't know, right? That's why you test. And I would suggest at least having 2 ads per audience, right? So you're not going to create 20 different ads. You're going to create 2 ads and use those same 2 ads for all 10 audiences, if that makes sense, right? So you'll at least have 2 separate ads to see which one works better. Now, you can use 3 or 4, but since it's $1 per day budget, usually using 2 ads is great. So that's the framework. That's the Miser method, right? So $10 a day spread across 10 audiences at $1 per day. So the trick is, let this thing run for a while. You're going to need to give it time. I would suggest give it 2 weeks without touching a thing. What'll happen after 2 weeks is you'll go into your ad campaign, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or Google, whatever it is, LinkedIn ads, and you'll notice probably half of your audiences aren't performing at all. They may not generate any leads. And if they are, they're expensive. So what you could do is just kill half of those audiences, leave the other half running, right? And then the other half that's running, that is performing well, you can add a little more budget to it. So you can go crazy, add $2 a day, $3 a day, right? You could start to scale those audiences that are working well. And then at the same time, now that you're left with 5 and you're adding more budget to those, add 5 more audiences to test, right? So again, it's allowing you to test at very insignificant amount of money per day and still get really great results from it. And the good part too, that the thing I've also learned from other folks is that by $1 per day, you're also really pushing the algorithms on these platforms to work really hard for you, right? Because you're wanting to get results, and the algorithm, just with $1 per day, it's going to go for a lot of the low-hanging fruit within those audiences. So anyway, that's kind of a side topic. I don't know as much about the algorithm and the way it works as other people, but from what I understand, that's a bit of a side benefit from starting with a low budget per day. And again, over time, as you find over time, you'd be like, hey, these 3 audiences just crush it, no matter what offer I have, these 3 seem to work the best. Well, the beauty is you can scale from $1 a day and over time work your way up to $100 a day per audience, as long as you're profitable. But the Miser method allows you to start with a real low budget and start getting data, right? So I'm going to show you real quick with our the consulting brand that we have, the brand that this video is coming from. I created a little PDF just on how to create SOPs. You've probably seen that training. Maybe you've gotten access to it. I think it's pretty great. It's a little PDF. It's like 10 pages long, and it just breaks down how do you actually set up processes for your business, right? Kind of a simple framework. I'm a simple guy. I like keeping things simple and actionable and useful. So I started running this thing maybe, I don't know, a week ago, give or take. I spent probably less than $100 so far. Have scaled none of the ads yet. I'm going to, but just wanted to show you kind of practically what it looks like. So spent $85, generated actually about 16 leads. And some of you know there's a bit of a tracking issue with Facebook. So I've generated about 16 leads, but Facebook has counted 9 so far. And in this campaign, I'm targeting 10 different audiences, right? Just like I showed you with the miser method at $1 per day. I got crazy and I added another $1 per day to one of the campaigns because it was working well. But you'll see, I have 10 campaigns. One is targeting people that are interested in project management tools, right? Like Asana, Trello, which in my mind, I thought, well, if they're interested in that, they may be interested in learning about setting up SOPs. Turns out my assumption so far is wrong. Like I mentioned, the part about why testing is so great is because you'll have an idea in your mind of like what could be a good audience, what could be a good offer, but you introduce it to the marketplace and they'll let you know. So, and again, I've only spent $7. So I still have plenty of time to let this thing run, but you'll see like, hey, the people that are interested in entrepreneurship got 1 lead, no lead for CRM interest, 1 lead for landing page, social media marketing interest, got me 4 leads at $2 a lead. So what I'm just doing right now is I'm just testing to see before I start scaling up this little free PDF offer. And the big secret is I'm trying to get people value, trying to give them legitimate value that they enjoy. And a percentage of those people may need help setting up SOPs. They may need help onboarding virtual assistants. They may even want us to place a virtual assistant in their business that's already pre-trained and pre-vetted and ready to go. So that's the whole idea. And again, something Frank talks about, which is, just add value to people and lead with that. So that's what I'm trying to do. And you'll notice one of my audiences is Frank Kern, some of his people. And got 2 leads so far at just over $3. So anyway, this is the miser method. I would encourage you, again, if you've launched ads before, they didn't work, or if you're currently running ads and you have a massive budget and you're wanting to do better, I would encourage you start using the method of the miser method, at least with the very top of your funnel to cold audiences. Break it out into 10 audiences, and you don't even need to start with a big budget. So anyway, I made this video just because I created a post yesterday about the importance of testing and how that's the lifeblood of your business, and the ability for your business to get you better results, your marketing to get better results is testing, right? And allowing the marketplace to tell you what's working, what's not. So anyway, hope this helps. Test it out. If you start the miser method, give Frank Kern a shout out and then let me know how it helps you, all right? And I'll see you in the next video.